What if I told you imaginary friends are real? And when their kids grow up, they're forgotten.
Are any of them scary?
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
In today's podcast, we're covering the live-action film, If.
And this movie's about a girl who discovers that she can see everyone's imaginary friends, or ifs, as she embarks on a journey to reconnect forgotten ifs with their kids, and Rascal wanted to see this movie.
Yes, but before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notifications to future podcasts and little pause videos.
And thank you so much for joining us, subscribing, sharing our videos, and everything, guys. We really appreciate you so much. You are special.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to be totally honest. When she first said she wanted to see this, I was totally against it. And when we were watching the movie, I was thinking, this movie is going to turn out to be crap. I've wasted my time watching it. Full disclosure, total transparency. And then I found out I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I was very happy I was wrong.
And one of the reasons we ended up being hesitant about it closer to viewing was because the plot line sounded, when they were telling about it online and on TV, it sounded identical to Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And it was literally the same plot of imaginary friends in a home, but it's not a foster home. It's more of like a retirement home, because there's ones for who are much older adults, and the ifs go here, and it's as like a retirement home for imaginary friends instead of a foster home. And a similar concept of having them go and find new kids to be with. But you find out during the movie, it's a little bit of a twist. They can't connect to any new kids because they're supposed to stay with the ones that imagined them in the first place. So it ends up being them reconnecting with those kids that have grown up, have been a little bit disillusioned because they're at a time in their lives when they need them the most.
Yes. And the movie starts off kind of slow but picks up. Before we get to that, we want to tell you a little more about how this came about. It's categorized as a fantasy comedy, and there is a lot of comedy. It was written, produced, and directed by John Krasinski, who was just voted as the sexiest man alive in People magazine.
Go figure, yeah.
And it features a great ensemble cast, including Ryan Reynolds, who he also, I think they both did this under their Sunday Night Productions company.
Right.
And so the idea came to them quite a while ago.
So this is an older project.
In 2019.
Yeah.
And he was set to write and direct it. And Reynolds was attached to star in it. And then they didn't get the rest of the cast until between 2021 and 2022. And then the filming took place in New York City.
Yes.
Between August of 2022 and May of 2023. Released in May of 2024. And it did pretty well. Had a budget of $110 million. And it garnered over $190 million at the box office.
Right.
Runtime 104 minutes.
Right. And with critical reception, you had some critics kind of thought it was meh or just average and things. But you had people that are like animation lovers, or people that loved Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, or even had imaginary friends themselves, actually really enjoy the movie, especially when it picks up towards the second half of the film. And there is a theory that they think because the movie stays too family friendly, like there is the addressment of more serious matters, like the passing of a parent and the girl fearing that her father's going to pass too. We won't spoil anything that happens. They do handle some darker stuff, but they don't go all the way and get very sad and trying to hurt you. And people think they maybe have criticized it for not being a sad movie.
And you know what I'm gonna say? You got enough movies that go into sadness and depression.
Exactly.
And being dark.
You don't need a new one.
Anyone saying that this movie was too family friendly, then just don't watch it.
You're right.
It had a perfect balance after it got started. And that's the thing. When it starts off, it's kind of slow. And it is kind of sad because you open it up with seeing the main character, B, who is played by Kaylee Fleming. Her dad's in the hospital. And the first thing we were like, oh no, not another movie like this.
Yeah.
And we thought it was going to be the worst. And for the first hour, I guess I say, not hour, for about...
Let's say 40 minutes.
Yes. it focused on her and her being with her grandma and the dad being in the hospital. What I do like is no matter what happened, he was positive.
That's true.
And it kept her positive because no matter the age of the kid, they are moved by your emotions and your reactions to things.
Exactly.
He stayed positive, she stayed positive.
Right. And
Great
that's a good thing.
Great message. And up until the point where they did this dance performance around Tina Turner's Be Good to Me, I think that's the name of the song, the movie was slow. But once that song kicked in and everyone was dancing, having a great time, and it was upbeat, from that point on, this movie was magical.
Yes.
From that point to the end, it was one of the best movies I've seen. I just wish it could have been a little more like that in the beginning.
Right.
But I understand Krasinski probably had a story and a way he wanted to tell it, and I can respect that.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, from that point on, the movie is absolute magic.
Right. And it's really fun to see all these celebrities voicing the imaginary friends.
Yes.
I think my only criticism on the imaginary friends themselves is that they're not that imaginative. I'm sorry. No offense, because one was a glass of water.
But I think that was being realistic when you think about it. Every kid's different, and you don't know what is important to that kid. Maybe to one of those kids, a glass of water was very important.
I guess so.
As long as it's not Disney doing it with Pokemon, I'm good.
Right.
So, a couple things we actually figured out during the course of the movie. I figured out about Ryan Reynolds, and that's all I'll say. And Rascal figured out a couple other things.
Yeah.
And then we both figured out about one of the imaginary friends who she belonged to, the bee.
Right.
But other than that, it was just fun and an unfolding, and it was done really well. I really hope to see more from Reynolds and Krasinski from their studio that they work on, because you can tell they have heart. You can tell they can do more than Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
And thankfully Green Lantern. But you can tell they've got so much promise, and there's so much more we can get from them. So let's quickly go through the cast itself.
Yes.
And then your final thoughts, because I know you got some.
Right.
Kaylee Fleming as Bee, who was the daughter of John Krasinski, who actually never was named in the movie.
Oh,
Just Dad.
That's true. He wasn't.
Ryan Reynolds as Cal, Bee's neighbor, who can also see ifs. Fiona Shaw as Bee's grandmother, who doesn't have a name. Alan Kim is Benjamin, a boy recuperating in the hospital that she wants to help him find his own imaginary friend, and he can't see one, and you'll find out at the end why.
Right.
You had Bobby Moynihan appear as a businessman, and that was a shock. And you had a couple of live action people. Now let's get to the voices for the imaginary friend.
Yes, all the celebrities.
We had Steve Carell as Blue,
Yes, I was
who was
surprised.
purple.
Yes, and they spelled it differently so they would not get sued for Fosters.
You had Lou Gossett Jr. in his final role as Lewis, and he was an elderly teddy bear who runs the Memory Lane Retirement Home, tongue twister, and he did a fantastic job. You had Aquafina as Bubble, Emily Blunt as Unicorn, a plush unicorn, George Clooney as Spaceman, Bradley Cooper as Ice, Matt Damon as Flower, Bill Hader as Banana.
Yes, that's seriously it.
Robert Jenkins as Art Teacher, Keegan-Michael Key as Slime, John Krasinski voiced Marshmallow.
Oh, he had an extra role
Yes,
in here.
Blake Lively as Octopus USS,
Okay.
Allison Seeger as Viola, Sebastian Maniscalco as Magician Mouse, Christopher Maloney as Cosmo, Matthew Reese as Ghost, Sam Rockwell as Guardian Dog, Maya Rudolph as Ally, Amy Schumer as Gummy Bear, and Jon Stewart as Robot.
Oh my gosh.
So as you said, there were a ton of stars voicing these characters.
Yes. And for me, when you're really thinking about this movie, yes, they had clearly inspiration from Foster's Home, but they at least, the greatest part about it is that they still did their own story. They did their own version of this concept. It wasn't just one-to-one with the animated series. They did a different take where it's Imagining for reconnecting with the same kid, because usually, yes, the other show had where they had to move on with a new kid that needed them. And here, that is a pretty good, cool idea where your imaginary friend wants to come back because someone's been jaded, or they're nervous, or they've been so engrossed in their adult life they forgot to have fun and confidence, and that friend wants to come back and help them. So I think that's a really great concept they got.
Definitely. As far as whether you should see it or not, if you haven't, if you're hesitant like I was, ignore the hesitation, watch the movie. Don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes, they're rotten.
Right.
Give the movie a chance. We promise you, you won't be disappointed. It was a breath of fresh air, entertaining and fun. Just stick with the movie into the first 40 minutes. Again, from that point on, it's absolute magic. All the performances are stellar, not only the live action actors, but also the voice acting for the different ifs. This is definitely a movie you should see, and if you don't watch it, you're missing out on high quality entertainment, storytelling, and performances.
Yes.
And I did not think I would be saying that about this movie.
Exactly, right.
But I am.
Right.
So if you've seen If, let us know in the comments. Did you see it when it originally premiered, or did you watch it like we did on demand or DVD? Let us know. If you haven't, it's available everywhere.
Yep.
DVD, streaming, on demand. Just watch it, come back, tell us what you think.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly reviews for your anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for joining us today, subscribing, sharing our videos. As always,
You are special. Thank you so much for watching. Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.